President of Hazleton City Council is reacting tonight to Mayor Joe Iannuzzi's civil action suit against the city, and it's our top story. Good evening. This is WYLN's Late Edition, Greater Hazleton's only local news broadcast for Tuesday, May 13th, 2014. I'm Ann Gownley. WYLN first told you last night on Late Edition that Hazleton Mayor Joe Iannuzzi filed a civil action suit against the city of Hazleton and all of its council members. Today, Council President Jack Mundy reacts to the suit and tells WYLN that council still wishes to proceed with its own action against Iannuzzi. The dispute continues between Hazleton Mayor Joe Iannuzzi and Hazleton City Council. Both parties say its budget is correct and wishes to continue running the city on those selected budgets. Iannuzzi says the budget council is using is illegal and the city will run under the administration's budget that was passed in December. At last Tuesday night's meeting, council presented a resolution to enact a mandamus action against Iannuzzi. Iannuzzi answered just 2 days later by filing his own civil action against the city and all council members. Today, Mundy spoke with WYLN about what council plans to do now.
You know, we want the mayor to adhere to our budget. We believe our budget is a legal budget, and I have no problems going to court, and I think we will prevail in court.
Iannuzzi told WYLN Monday night that he has tried several times to meet with council to compromise on a single budget for the city that both council and the administration could agree on.
Those compromises were that he was giving something to council, but he wasn't giving anything to council. We decide how much money is spent in the city by passing that budget and being able to adjust the line items. We could do that after the budget is passed. We could adjust the line item up or down. So we're allowed to do that. That's council's job, to keep an eye on his spending and make sure that the mayor doesn't go over spending in a line item, and when they come close to a line item.
Mundy says that council could indeed win in court against Iannuzzi and adds that the mayor just doesn't understand how local government works.
We decide, us 5 council people who are elected by the people, decide on the budget. We vote on the budget. And if it's passed, that's the amount of spending that the mayor is allowed to spend. If the administration goes over a line item, they can't go over a line item. They have to come to us for transfers. They're supposed to stay within that budget, and that's how city government works.
Iannuzzi says he will be paying for the civil suit out of his own pocket. No word how council will be fighting back against Iannuzzi's civil action. Council will meet again on May 21st at 6 p.m. An investigation is underway into a deadly car crash that involved a police cruiser from Nesquehoning. State police at Lehighton say a police cruiser is the cause of the 2-vehicle crash. 69-year-old Carola Sowers, who was the passenger in a 2007 Toyota, was killed in the crash that happened Monday evening. 25-year-old Stephen Hamenko, a part-time Nesquehoning police officer, lost control of his 2009 Ford Crown Victoria while negotiating a turn on Route 209. Hamenko reportedly was in a car chase at the time of the crash. His vehicle entered the opposite lane and his left rear quarter panel struck the front bumper of Sowers' vehicle. Carola and the driver, Michael Sowers, were flown to St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem, and Hamenko was taken to Lehigh Valley Hospital, Cedar Crest. Carola was pronounced dead at the hospital. Reconstruction teams were contacted to investigate the crash with the state police. Route 209 was closed for several hours while the investigation continued. Anyone with information on this crash is asked to contact troopers at 610-377-4270. Concerned residents spoke out against a local police force, saying that they are harassing those who live in the community. Our Gary Perna was in McAdoo tonight and has the story.
Questioning Borough Council on why police officers are harassing the residents was the main topic at tonight's McAdoo Borough Council meeting.
I was just driving up Kennedy Drive at 6:15 today, and Officer Tanner proceeded to pull in the alley right before Monroe Street, the light at the end of town. Pulled in, not even off the road, off the highway, backed in to my lane. I almost hit him. Like, just whip, like, is that okay to do?
The kid was 3 inches from the curb and had a ticket on her car for parking on the sidewalk. Really? Is that the best you can come up with? But 7 times. And I'll tell you something. We've been doing a trick over the last 3 months. After work, she pulls her hair up, doesn't get pulled over. Leaves the hair down, pulled over within 2 blocks of entering McAdoo.
Council President Joe Madocic said they take every complaint seriously.
We're always we're here for the citizens of the borough, so any complaint we all take seriously. I think some of the problem is that citizens are coming here to complain verbally and not doing the written part of it. And then next month they'll be here with the same complaints, but again, not a written complaint was made.
Police Chief Jeff Wainwright said residents can come into his office and speak with him directly and fill out a complaint form. But the chief said not many have done that.
I actually have not received that many formal written complaints against any of my officers. And I think a lot of people, they don't realize, you know, that we have to abide by, you know, Title 75, which is a vehicle code, and we could enforce inspection violations also. And that's where a lot of these, you know, people don't realize that, you know, we could stop for, you know, a registration light out, you know, small violations to look for the bigger violations.
After the meeting was over, some residents did walk into the police office and obtain complaint forms. No word if any action will be taken against any of the complaints that were brought up tonight. In McAdoo, for WILN's Late Edition, I'm Gary Perna.
Want to become the next Bill Gates or Martha Stewart and attend grade school in Schuylkill County? Well, there is a new academy which will help young students learn how to become entrepreneurs. The big announcement, which has been kept a secret for quite some time, was revealed today at Penn State Schuylkill in Schuylkill Haven. It's called the YEAH program, Young Entrepreneurs Academy. It is a unique class that will help transform students in grades 6 through 12 into real entrepreneurial success stories. The new academy was announced this afternoon at Penn State Schuylkill campus in Schuylkill Haven. The program will not only teach students how to start their own business, but will give them the opportunity to do everything it takes to start a business or social movement. The program director of the YEAH program, Carol Boyer, says it was developed at the University of Rochester.
This is going to happen this coming year. We're going to be taking applications from now until into September. I believe September 19th is our deadline, and the first class will begin in October, and classes will go from October through April of next year.
The program will target students in Schuylkill County school districts. Executive Director of the Schuylkill Chamber, Robert Carl Jr., says he hopes it will encourage students to stay in the area after graduation.
We believe by giving them a meaningful experience through a program like this, it's highly likely they'll want to stay in Schuylkill County and continue to nurture what they've started and move the business plan or the social movement forward. So we think the program is well designed to nurture our youth for the betterment and the quality of life of Schuylkill County.
A business owner himself, John Crane, believes this program is a great idea for the youth.
I think it's a fabulous opportunity for any student in Schuylkill County to have the opportunity to learn the skill sets and the step-by-step process you have to go through in order to start your own business, how to get the financing for it, the plan you have to have in effect. It's just phenomenal, and especially to have it sponsored through the Chamber of Commerce and the other partnering organizations.
Crane's son may be interested in science, but would still love to be a part of this program and help develop other ideas.
From what I can tell, it seems like a very good opportunity if you want to pursue a business career after your later education days. And if you have an idea, there's really no reason why you shouldn't bring it to this level of preparation.
Penn State Schuylkill will be the first campus to host the YEAH program.
We think it's a great partnership with the Chamber of Commerce and also with Penn State Schuylkill, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity for the youth in our area.
The YEAH program will run from October until April. It is a 30-week program that will take place 1 day a week from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. At the end of the program, Boyer tells us that there is an ultimate goal for all of the students.
The students have an opportunity to present to an investor panel. The investor panels will be local businessmen, and there will be a winner. The winner from that gets an all-expense-paid trip to the regional investors panel. The winner from the regional investors panel goes on to an all expenses paid trip to Washington, D.C. to the Nationals. The national winner goes on the actual Shark Tank show.
For additional information on the program and the application process, you can contact Carol Boyer at 570-622-1942 or by email at cboyer@schuylkichamber.org. A press conference was held at the Luzerne County Courthouse this afternoon by District Attorney Stephanie Salavantis. Salavantis and several other elected officials spoke on the proposed Kevin's Law, which would increase the minimum penalty for leaving the scene of a fatal accident.
The Luzerne County District Attorney's Office had the unfortunate duty of investigating and prosecuting 5 cases where the driver of a vehicle left the scene of a fatal accident, forcing 6 families to undergo the unbearable reality of saying goodbye to their loved ones forever. In each case, the victim was killed. The driver left the scene, and investigators found evidence showing that the driver had been drinking immediately before the accident. In each case, had the driver remained at the scene and been shown to have a blood alcohol content above the legal limit of 0.08%, he or she would face no less than 3 years incarceration, a mandatory minimum penalty required by law.
Just before Christmas in 2012, 5-year-old Kevin Miller was hit and killed by a drunk driver. Kevin's mother, Caroline, also spoke at this afternoon beside Salavantis. Gary Perna was there, and he will have much more on the press conference coming up in just a little bit. A 51-year-old Hazleton man has a warrant out for his arrest, and police need the public's help in locating him. Dennis Lloyd Hall of South Pine Street is accused of allegedly robbing the Family Dollar at 700 West Broad Street back on January 11th, just after midnight. Anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to call Hazleton Police at 570-459-4940. All information will be kept confidential. An attempted kidnapping in the city of Hazleton just after 5 p.m. Monday. Hazleton police responded to the area of Laurel and Maple Streets after a 911 caller reported seeing a skinny white male with dark hair in his 30s exiting a gold-color sedan and grabbing a white female by the neck and forcing her into the back seat of the car. Police say the car was driven by a white female with blonde hair in her 40s. The car fled the scene in an unknown direction. Several officers searched the area and could not find the vehicle matching that description. Anyone who may have witnessed this incident is asked to call Hazleton Police at 570-459-4940. All calls will be kept confidential. A Hazleton woman was allegedly chased by 3 males attempting to rob her in the area of Pine and Chestnut Streets just before 1 a.m. Tuesday. When officers arrived on scene, the female said she was able to run away from the suspects, 2 white males and 1 black male, into a nearby store. One suspect is described as a white male, approximately 6'1", with a thin build and brown facial hair, wearing a white t-shirt, red hooded sweatshirt, and light blue jeans. The second suspect is described as a white male, approximately 5 feet 9 inches tall, with a thin build. The third suspect, a black male, approximately 5 feet 9 inches tall, with a thin build. Anyone with information on their whereabouts, again, is asked to call Hazleton Police at 570-459-4940. Just before 2 a.m. on May 9th, 23-year-old Giordano Lara Biaz of Hazleton was speeding down Alter Street and forced another vehicle to the side of the road. According to police, Biaz ran a stop sign at 5th and Alter Streets and led them in a short, high-speed chase. Biaz was apprehended in the area of 16th and Vine Streets. Once taken into custody, police charged him for suspicion of DUI, fleeing and eluding police, and other related traffic violations. The theft case against a Wilkes-Barre towing contractor began today in Luzerne County Court. During opening statements, First Assistant District Attorney of Luzerne County, Sam Sang-Ladoche, told jurors that 43-year-old Leo Glodzik, the owner of LAG Towing, pocketed $2,100 from inside a car he was towing during an FBI sting operation. Sang-Ladoche said that State Trooper Daniel Mingna will take the stand. Mingna helped launch the sting operation after his father-in-law's car was towed. Glodzik admitted to him that he overbilled for the tow and would refund the money. Glodzik agreed to be the exclusive tower for a supposed drug task force that Mingna was head of. Glodzik was called for the tow in December of 2012, but what he didn't know was that the vehicle was part of a sting operation against Glodzik.